Well, anyhow, the law said, well, now we've got her. Now who owns her? We can't keep her. That's what the lawyer said, said that we can't keep her. Who owns her? Well, Eula says, I'll take her. Well, she didn't have to adopt her. So you see, whenever Eula died, now Eula had given us that first acre of land, because Mabel had married, and so Louis, my gracious, that boy's give her, and kept her up for years and years, and ever since Joe died, and before then. But anyway, Louis would have divided the other with her, penny for penny. But Judge Rowley, that same old judge that's down there in office now, quit his wife and went to one with a little young girl, married her. Well, Mabel went with some boy, and they all went out together. Well, of course, she didn't have to pay this Judge Rowley nothing. And Mabel just told him she's adopted, and he believed it. But he was a lawyer and a judge. Why didn't he go look on the books? You don't take people's word for things.
She thought she was adopted.
Well, Louis was adopted. But
yes, sir. Bob was the one that made his adoption papers out and all. You know what his last name really was?
Louis?
Buck.
Buck.
B-U-C-K. And he had a sister named Louise.
What happened to his parents?
I don't know. One died, and I think the mother died, and he adopted him.
Where did they ever run into him?
Well, Eula lived across the street from the old Perligan home. It was a big old two-story house there, covered a block right down there on between 7th and 8th Avenue. The old building's still there. They ain't tore it down.
On what street?
8th Avenue.
Between 7th and 8th. But this one, what would that one be? By Jordan, I think. Somewhere there. And, of course, it's not there. The old house might be there, but they ain't no home there anymore. They changed it then, called it from Perligan, P-A-R-L, then capital E-A-G-A-N. They called it then the West Florida Receiving Home. And Eula lived just across the street. And she knew that he was up for adoption. Old man, who was that old man sold sewing machines? Used to go all over the place selling singer sewing machines. What was his name?
You one up at Warden.
Right. But they adopted him, and his wife was so mean to him.
They adopted Louis?
Uh-huh. And so his wife was so mean, he had to carry him around in the buggy with him with that. She'd beat him and everything, and so he carried him back to the home. No, he had him on trial. He didn't adopt him. He was to keep him a year on trial. And he took him back. And when he did, Eula knew about it, you see, and they went and adopted him. I remember just as good how he looked. I'm only 8 years older than him. And so he was a pretty little boy. He had the brownest eyes I ever saw in my life. He was a pretty boy. And so anyway, Eula said, well, I'll take care of her. And so, but Eula didn't have to keep her too long because she married Dewey. She wasn't too old, and she'd come back here before she even married Dewey and was working for the Bell Telephone Company.
Mabel.
I met Mabel. And anyhow, he called Louis up one day. Mabel went out there, I don't know whether Mabel did or that lawyer, and put a lock on Eula's front door when she died.
And now you switch from John
Well, I'm going to tell you about
an infant till he's 60 years old.
No, I was going to tell you about Mabel being adopted. She wasn't adopted. But anyhow, he called up Louis and told him if he ever wanted to go in the house, he'd have to come ask her. And, well, Louis just cried like a baby at the telephone. He had to get Iris to come finish talking to him. And so, Louis then asked me, was she I don't know how in the conversation, was she adopted and everything. And so I said, no, she wasn't. He said, are you sure? I said, no, she's not. He got Maxine to go down there and look on the books. There they all went to the courthouse. And I said, she's not adopted. You may find where the case was tried and the court took her, but she ain't been adopted. So, Louis had to hire a lawyer.
How long was Mabel when Aunt Eula took her? About.
About 12 years old. I think she's about that old. She might not have been that old, but it seemed like she was about that old.
Who's the oldest, Mabel or?
Louise is the oldest.
Huh?
Louise. And there's one dead between them.
Who's the oldest?
Louise is the oldest.
Not the two girls' mother.
Oh.
Louis or Mabel?
Oh, Louise is the oldest.
Louis is the oldest.
But anyway then, Louis hired a lawyer. And so he didn't get very far with that. And Mabel then, she called me up one day and she was mad because I told Louis she wasn't adopted. I said, well, Mabel, what was I going to tell him? It's not, I said, I was right there when the court finger just took you. And I said, you wasn't adopted. Well, you shouldn't have told him. Well, I said, I was not going to tell him a story. And I said, if he was a lawyer and he was all that smart, which he ought to be, why didn't he go on the books? And I said, before he started something like that, why didn't he go see? Somebody ought to have done something for him for go doing that when he didn't know what he was doing it for. So he never did go to no trial or nothing. That lawyer, Louis, has just wrote and told him. And what was what, and he never did bring it to me. He would had him, well, bring him before the court at a certain time, but this lawyer just told him just what was what. He never did bring it to no trial. So Mabel come to see me about 5 or 6 weeks ago. First time she'd been there. And she and Harry's a fine fellow, this man she married. I like him. He's got a high rating. What is a W-2?
Warren officer.
Oh, he ain't in service. Civil service.
A W-2 or a
I think
GS-2?
Oh, I think it's a W. Got a W. It's a high rating. I tell you, he was Betty Gunter's husband's boss out there. He was one of the leadermen, you know. And he's retired. And Betty's husband says he draws a high wages. I say, and Robert does too, says he's one of the high paid men out there.
Well, we're running out of tape. Let's go back to the ice plant. That's what I want to know, some of the early history.
Well,
I forgot you to tell.
I worked there 28 years.
Got that whole story on tape.
Right.
Oh, fabulous.
Well, let's go back to the ice plant now.
Yeah, I started there. They was putting in some new machinery. That's when I first got the job. I needed some help, and so about 5 or 6 months. And in the meantime, I knew the job was going to be completed pretty quick. And this fellow I worked with at Lemus Dairy, he's working at Magnolia Farm. That's another big dairy over there.
I remember that one.
And he got me a job there if I wanted it. And so I went over to see him about it, or at least he told me to come talk with the boss. And I went over and talked with him, and he said, yes, said if you want the job, you can have it. And said, he'll furnish you a house, and she told me what house I'd live in. So I went back and talked with the boss at the ice plant. I said, well, this here job's going to soon play out, and I got a chance for another job, and I want to know how I stand. I said, if I'm going to be cut off, I got a job that I can go to. But I said, I'd rather stay here if you wasn't going to cut me off. I said, well, I said, you're a good, steady man, so if you want to stay, well, I'll keep you. And so I stayed on there then, 28 years.
Into Ditchy Street then.
Well, we lived on,
The Dillon, wasn't it?
we lived on the Villa Street first. We moved from there to,
Lived twice on the Dillon.
yeah, we moved from there to, where did we move to then? On,
There where he was born.
Do you remember the addresses on the Villa Street?
I know where it is.
You know the 100 block?
It's across the street from the end of Smith's Bakery. At the end of Smith's Bakery.
East side of the road or the west side?
Across the street.
the little shotgun house. And we lived there for a while. Then we moved to where he was born.
Did you get pregnant with me on Into Ditchy or the Villa Street?
Another part on the Villa Street, not that little house. Sister was a baby there. But when we moved higher up, right across the street from the old Viola Edwards Negro Hospital. But in the meantime, though, the ice plant sold coal. And Daddy, did you ever work over there with old man Fritz, where they sold the coal?
Well, after we finished up putting the machinery in, had an ice plant over there on Chase and Tarragona. And they was moving it all over there to the other plant.
You mean when you started working with them, you worked at Chase and Railroad
Well,
Station?
that's a coal place.
They helped tear out a big boiler. You know, them boilers they was bricked in, you know.
Yes. And that's where you started working with them?
No, I started down there putting in the machinery at that the regular big plant.
On Garden Street?
Yeah. And so we had to go over there and help tear out that boiler. And just switch it about from one place to the other. And so they had a ice plant down on, I don't know what street it was.
On Gracchus Avenue, was it?
No, it was I believe it was DeVilla Street down on next to the water, pretty close to the water at the bay.
Yes, sir.
And they worked some down there,
I
tearing out
don't remember
some.
that one.
Huh?
I don't remember that one.
No, that was just a little plant, you know, they used it to ice up
Fishing boats?
fishing smacks, you know, down there on the water.
Yes, sir.
You know, those men used to have mules that they pull the ice in those big covered wagons, you know. They
That's
used to
before they
put
had
it
any
in that.
trucks, it was all horse and wagon.
Well, they kept the mules up on Chase and Railroad Street.
Yeah. Had an old German over there named Fritz,
Fritz?
He died.
and he looked after that. And so then I went to work regular at the big plant.
Hauling ice?
No, I was taking out air tubes.
Oh.
And putting them in. See,
And one man was electrocuted there.
Yeah, there was one electrocuted when they was putting in a new tank. That extension cord, you know, right out of the light down to work in the.
That was years later, though.
Yeah, and he let across the cord, you know, and he had his shirt unbuttoned, and it caught him there.
Is his name Simmons?
No, his name was Allsip,
Oh, Sim.
and the man Simmons was the boss.
See, Brian worked there too. He was the
Well, the
Engineer.
man worked there, too, didn't he?
Marvin, Joseph, and I.D., Evers' boy and her husband, Ever Smith. Oh, and a lot of the family worked there. Joe Rhodes.
Yeah, Joe Rhodes worked there.
Uncle Joe?
Talmadge,
Uncle Joe worked?
Talmadge took his job
When he got there?
when he got
They fired
What
him.
I mean,
Yeah. Talmadge worked there a long time. He took his job.
When I got 60 years old, see, I could assume draw the pension. And so they told me they wouldn't need me anymore, but keep having to pay me a pension.
I don't. A man told him that they done that. Every one of them that'll do that, keep them, find a way to get rid of them so they won't have to pension them all.
They had a man in my place, and they tried to get me to come back, but I had another job then, and I wouldn't go back. No, I
Well,
run
you worked there, I believe,
8.
28 years.
28 years?
I run the cold storage, you know. I did not work with the ISM,
How long
but
did you work in that cold storage?
5 or 6 years.
Oh, Danny. Longer than that.
I really don't know. It was a long time. And
I was a little bitty boy, and you worked in it till long after I went into the Navy. You must have worked back there 15, 20 years.
no, it wasn't that long, but it's a pretty good while.
Well, you worked both of them, both ends of it.
Yeah, I worked both places for part of the time. And he wouldn't give another fellow my job at the ice plant, I mean the cold storage. He had a fellow that Alabama, he worked at Atmore. They sent him to a school, you know, to learn him how to cure meat and take care of cold storage stuff. And I'd been doing that without just what little experience that I had on the farm. And so they told me that they was going to give him the job. I was getting $3 1/4 a day, and they sent me back to the ice plant only, I think it's $16 a week.
$80 a month. They paid you for the month, $80.
Whatever it was.
And didn't work that man on Sunday.
No,
And paid him all holidays.
I had to work Sundays, holidays, and gas and oil all the trucks, and they stored a lot of ice potatoes and beer and all stuff like that. I had about 3 or 4 rooms of ice potatoes, and they wouldn't even give me anybody to help me store them. And I had to stack them 100-pound sacks up 3 and 4 high.
Wasn't that after World War II that they moved you out of the cold storage?
Yeah.
And that's all you made, $80 a week a month?
That's when I was working at the ice plant, in the ice department.
Uh-huh.
And then
Well, did you take a reduction in pay when they moved you back up?
I had to.
Waited a long time, and Daddy went to him, and he forgot it. And he
Well,
lost
that was after
yeah,
the other fellow quit, though. All he had to do was look after the cold storage.
and he wouldn't do
And
that.
it's too much, it's too much for me, and I was doing twice that much.
I didn't know they reduced your pay when you moved back up front.
Yeah, they reduced it then, and you couldn't buy a job then, and so I just had to take it and go ahead. And so
Well, what were you making in the back?
I was getting $3 1/4 a day,
7 days a week?
7 days a week. And
Seemed like he was making a little over 100, or
well, whatever it was, whatever it come to,
yeah,
3 and
I
1/4.
don't remember.
But then when they moved you up front, you still had to work 7 days a week?
Yeah, and cut me back to $80 a month.
Good God.
And so he worked there about a month, and he quit too much for it. And the boss wasn't there then, but the bookkeeper told me, said, you go back, you'll have to take it over, and said, we get it straightened out. And he never would raise me. I went on worked a month, and he never raised my wages.
Is that right?
And he come back to the cold store, and I told him, I said, you wouldn't cut my wages now, and you have never raised it back since I come back here. He said, I intend to do that right away. He said, I'll go up in the office and get it straight right now, and then they raised it back. But I never even got extra for that month that I'd worked.
You didn't?
Sonny used to work 12 hours a day, and then if they had cars coming in, even with these Daggies, Glads, over in Alabama here, they'd have to ice cars to ship them in, and he'd have to go down there at night and by the depot and ice cars for nothing. You didn't get 1 penny extra.
Daddy used to do the same thing. We'd go up there and wait on him. Sometimes it'd be midnight before he'd get through.
He didn't get any extra, but it didn't there. And so well, the last of it is when I was back at the cold storage, and I'd have to go up there and help them load trucks then with ice.
Well, Tim got laid off too, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he was lucky. He got a job at the Navy Yard then. But I got laid off, and I didn't have nothing.
I happened to be working when he got laid off.
And so Grady Merritt told me, said, asked me what I was doing. I said, well, I ain't doing anything. He said, if you go up there and see Mr. Hammond, said he's a retired policeman, said, I'm pretty sure you can get a job.
He was looking for some men, He was looking for some men that didn't drink.
And so I went up there, and he had a job, Southern Bell Telephone, and also the Gulf Power Company. There wasn't paying insurance, Now, insurance is high, for all of that. And the Southern Detective Corporation, they taking it over for so much, and they paid us, I forgot what they paid us.
I don't remember.
But anyway, I worked at that, a few months.
Oh, we had Governor's Bio back when he was remodeling that plant, he night watched there.
Just an electric plant over there.
Wherever that is over here on this bio, on 10 Mile Road, or wherever it is.
Yeah, I night watched there.
You went from there to the bridge, didn't you?
No, he went over here where you go over that bridge to go to the Navy Yard there, where all that Gulf Power doing.
Yeah, but I mean, from the night watching part, you went to the bridge.
Well, yeah, I was off for a while. Let's see, what did I do next?
Over there, don't you know,
I was trying to figure what I did next.
we had to go on.
Oh, yeah. I was off out of work for a while, and they're gonna pay insurance, you know, on, and get their protection through insurance. And, so the telephone man went on a strike, and they called us back, and they paid us, $3, how much was it the hour? $3.
I forgot. You mean the telephone company?
Yeah,
You work with Charlie Penton.
I know,
Charlie.
Southern Detective Incorporation.
Oh,
I think it paid us $3
you worked there a pretty good while there.
hour for 40 hours a week, you know, and then time and half time all over for it. And we worked, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's 84 hours a week, and there's 44 hours I got time and half time for.
And they kept food upstairs there.
You know, they had the lunchroom up there for all the men. We could go in there and eat any time we wanted to. They kept a crew there cooking day and night. And they'd have baked turkey, baked ham and everything. And so we'd go up and eat every night, about midnight. And that lasted how long? About 6 weeks, wasn't it?
Yeah, about that. And then you got unemployment pay
Yeah.
for that.
Yeah, and then I was out of a job for a while, and Early Buchanan lived out at Inslee.
He didn't
It was
leave.
his wife that wanted you to date her, wasn't it?
Yeah. And so, I suppose they married.
So he'd have been a winner.
And so I saw him out at Polar Ice Cream one day. He said, "What you doing now?" I said, "I'm not doing anything." He said, "How'd you like to have a part-time job?" I said, "Well, I like it fine." I said, "I'm going to start drawing my Social Security, and I can only draw it and work so long." He said, "Well, this will be 2 days a week." I said, "That'll be about just
Day
about
and
right."
night.
And it'd be 12 hours a night, you know, 24 hours a week. And so I drew my Social Security and worked there about,
I think it's 6 weeks.
yeah,
He
something
worked
like that.
all day Saturday and then Sunday night.
What were you doing?
Night watching
Where though?
at Frisco Dock.
Oh, yeah.
And so
Then's when they called you back over there.
then, no, I went to work at the bridge before I went to work there, but they cut me off, you know. I just had a season job.
Yes, sir.
And when the season run out, he told me, said, "We won't need you anymore now, but if you don't get your job, well, you let me know," and said, "We'll put you back on when season open up next spring." And so I got that job at Frisco, and I called him up and told him, I said, "Well," that I appreciate him working with him, but I had a job, and I thought it would be just what I needed. And I won't have to call on you for a job over there again right now.
And it was but a week.
And he said, "Well," said, if it runs out and you need some work, well, you just let me know." And so then it wasn't long before they cut us off.
I don't know, didn't Early have to retire too pretty quick?
Well, yeah, he retired then.
Too.
I don't know what they did. But anyway, I went back to the bridge and I worked there till,
You worked over at the beach a little. Night watch, had to put some clocks on.
well, that was between the seasons, you know.
Yeah.
Night watched over there.
For the Southern Detective Agency?
No, with the
Same job, same
same
company.
job there.
Island Authority.
Island Authority.
Oh,
See, when winter come on, the weather get cold, well, they didn't nobody go over there much. School would start, you know, and that cut out by there wasn't too many going over there, but you wouldn't take in more than $25 a day. And so one man could handle that. And it's right up the middle of the bridge, and the drawbridge is right there by it, and you could tend to all of it if one man could. And so there had to be two nights a week over at the beach, a night watch. And there's two of us doing it, and I'd work one night and him one. Then he got to wanting an extra man up at the bridge, you know, for 2 nights. And he said, if you let me have that, I'll let you, no, it's just one night. He said, I'll let you have both them nights over at the beach. And I told him, all right. And so I did that till season opened up again, and I went back to the bridge.
There's 7 men that's died over there that he worked with.
On the bridge?
2 or 3 of them, it was to relieve me.
2. Daddy waited to be relieved, and they found dead in the bed. And one of them was, and the other one had a heart attack, and they'd rushed him to the hospital. He was in intensive care, and he died in just about a couple of hours.
No, he died. That's Thompson. He
No,
died.
this year was Purvis I'm talking about.
Well, Purvis died, and then the Inslee died, and
And
Thompson
Green.
died.
And Green died.
Well, I mean, with a heart attack,
Yeah.
that I was working with. But Green, he died after
They went in there to call Inslee for supper so he could go and relieve Daddy, and boy says, well, Daddy feels funny, he says, and he don't answer me. And she went in there, and he's dead.
Purvis, he had a heart attack. He just had married, you know,
Second marriage?
about the 3rd. And so he didn't last long. He
About
died.
3 weeks, wasn't it? He'd had a heart attack though before then,
And
running around.
he was to relieve me. He died.
Well, you better cut that thing off. You need about Monday.
It's getting ready to cut off.
We're going to have to go.
Yeah, it's later than you think. It's going to be dark. It's already dark, just about it. It's just cloudy.
Mother, what I wanted to do, I wanted to get as much of Daddy's old history on here.
I know, I knew it.
Then I wanted
It's
to
a
get yours.
kind of
Mine
a messed
ain't
up
got
thing
no-
where we was telling it.
Well, then I want to get yours too, but I
Oh,
only
I got one
concentrate
too.
on one at a time. And that's why I kept trying to cut you off on
If
Social
I
Security.
could have got Social Security for 4 years or 5, I forget which, down there when I worked to the Navy Yard, I'd have been really getting a big pension, but they wouldn't let us
You're
see. They
going
kept
in
on
it-
letting it on.
Are you going in your own right or Daddy's?
Yeah, I get more by it on my own right.
She still got plenty of tape there. She can take.
No, I don't know nothing to.
Well, I thought
Because I know she probably wouldn't have as much to tell as
No.
you did.
I worked at Corey Field, Main Side, over there where the PBYs were, and at Softly Field. I worked at all those places, and Gunnering. I've gone through that hospital hole many a time, and then cut across there, you know. When it'd be real cold, I'd get warm when I went through there, you know.
Daddy, what I want to do is to turn that tape over when it runs out, and I'd like for you to kind of tell me some of your history about the way you preserved food and put it away for winter storage and this sort of thing.
Well, I cured meat, you know.
Well, now I want you to do it when I turn the tape over.
We're going to do it because we're going to have to go for it.
Yeah, maybe we can do that another time. We better.
Well, how long is
We
it?
have to be at church now in an hour and a half.
Well, that's just how long that other side of the tape will run, and you can go right from here to church.
No, I'd have to go to the house and comb my hair and powder my face.
Eat a little supper.
Well, we just got some of that date. I don't know if that's pecans in there and raisin bread. Dinner, we'll
Raisin.
probably just eat a piece of that. Yeah.
And I'd like for you to tell some of the things about me and get your sister back when we were little.
I remember the time that you all put corn sacks around sapling trees like this made your little house. And I was reading an old true story magazine, and the Lord had told me not to read them things, that it wasn't so, and if it was, partly so that it wasn't. He's sick, so he not to read them, but I was just reading away on that. Wilmer give it to me to read, you know. And all of a sudden, I never heard such a clap of thunder in all my life. I mean to tell you, and the lightning just went all through that house, just like that. And you all give one loud scream, and that's all you did. And I ran out and I said, oh my Lord, my children's all killed. And you all huddle in a huddle for just a